Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to Overtime. This is Maricel Casino Rivera. And today, let's talk about beauty, about entrepreneurship, and life coaching. But before that, let me welcome attorney Oscar Oca Moreno, sir.
Thank you, Sel. Good afternoon, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Overtime. Overtime is a daily show, daily program, Mondays to Fridays that begins at about 1:30 or thereabout in the afternoon, and for an hour, but with overtime in most cases. And this afternoon, wow, we are very fortunate. We have a very special guest who is now in Sydney, Australia,
Yes.
one of the world's most livable cities. Sydney has always been outstanding in terms of livability, and but don't make no mistake about it. Ang iyang roots, her roots are from the mother side, from Jimenez, Misamis Occidental, and Liloan, Cebu. And so she understands some Visayan words,
Yeah.
and she also spent some time in Manila. So very much a Filipina, a beauty par excellence, Sel,
Yeah.
and of course a fulfilled beauty queen,
Yeah.
fulfilled beauty queen, a fulfilled woman. Sel, please do the honor of introducing our special guest.
All right. Thank you very much, attorney. Our distinguished guest this afternoon is a Filipino-Australian model, a beauty queen, and entrepreneur. She was born in June 28, 1998 in Sydney, Australia. She studied law and psychology at Macquarie University. I hope I got it right. Graduating in 2015. She won Miss Philippines International in 2012 and placed in the top 15 at the Miss International pageant. After her successful modeling career, she started her own business, Nicole Schmitz Live in 2020. Her company helps people improve their leadership and communication skills. She works with clients to build confidence, overcome fears, and achieve their goals. She's a certified leadership coach and a member of the International Coaching Federation. Her journey from a quiet person to a confident public speaker who influences top CEOs shows her expertise in leadership and communication. She speaks internationally on topics like authentic leadership, effective communication, and overcoming self doubt. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Nicole Cassandra Schmitz. Ma'am, good afternoon. Welcome to Overtime.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, Nicole, and it's really an honor to have you with us now. And I we have some backgrounder that our staff has prepared. I guess the information is available in your Facebook or uh, and yeah, you took up law and psychology. Would you like to tell us about that?
Sure, yes. So, actually, when I first started going to college, I enrolled in medicine, medical
Uh,
science, as that's what my mother encouraged me to do. However, I figured out pretty quick that I have a phobia for needles and blood and all of those things. So, I had to have a bit of a think about what was my real passions in life. And I really came down to the psyche, the human mind, as well as, fighting for justice, what's right, speaking, using your communication skills to help others. So that's how I ended up doing psychology and law.
yeah, and uh, you are a practicing lawyer. Do I take it in Sydney, Australia, or?
No, so I did use my law studies for a little while at the beginning of my career.
Uh-huh.
However, it's always been more of my passion to help people with their mind, the psychology aspects. So that's why
I
I have my
see.
business now.
I see. And wow, you participated in some beauty pageants here in the Philippines,
Yep.
and Miss
Philippines.
Binibining Pilipinas
Is that
International
right?
in 2012. Wow.
Mhm.
Uh, what, Yeah, well, but you had always been based in Sydney. Do I get it right? Or
Yeah, so I was born in Sydney. At 16, I moved to Cebu for about 3 years, and then I lived in Manila for another 3 years. But yes, back in Sydney now.
I see. And but your mother is now in Sydney,
Yes.
uh, and her mother is from, like it said, roots are from Jimenez, the Maturan family, and moved to Liloan in Cebu. And I told her before the program that the Secretary of Tourism in the Philippines today, the daughter of Governor Garcia, is the wife of the congressman representing that district in Liloan, who is from Liloan, the Frasco family. And I'm sure your mom knows this because of the Liloan, the what's this, the otap and all that. You're familiar with that?
Yep.
Yeah, uh, the pastry. No, not really pastry. Biscuits or Filipino biscuits.
Yes.
Mga
Titais? Is that what you're
Tita,
talking about?
that's right.
titais.
Tita is
Titais
Liloan.
biscuits. Ah,
My favorite. I love it. I love to eat that.
Good, good.
yeah.
And uh, now you are into life coaching and lecturing on leadership, on self confidence. Wow, I guess that's part of the psychology training that you got in college, Nicole. And how is it? You established a company of your own?
Yes, I did. So I opened it during COVID, in the middle of COVID. So
Uh-huh.
it's already a risk to start your own business, but even more so during such uncertain times. But I just felt such a strong calling right then and there. I knew in my intuition that this was the perfect time to do something like that. That's what people needed the most, right? Their
Yeah,
confidence.
yeah.
Everyone was in isolation. So yes, I did start it then, and I thought, well, the best way to do it is to kind of do it on my own and do it through my own authenticity and my own experiences.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Miss Nicole, how has your experience as a beauty queen influenced your approach in coaching and mentoring?
1,000% influence. It was the pivotal moment in my life that changed everything for me because, as you would have mentioned before, I was very shy as a child. I didn't have that much confidence. So that was a huge moment where I proved to myself that I can overcome it. And that was very much the basis in my mind for how I help clients now. But it doesn't only have to be in beauty pageants. I think people suffer from these challenges in a lot of different contexts, whether it's their work or their leadership. So I just want to help as many people as possible to achieve the same.
Yeah, yeah, and of course, self confidence is something that is not learned overnight. No, you don't get to be self confident overnight. Would you like to guide us on how does one become self confident, Nicole?
How does one become? That's such a broad question, but I can try. So I
Yeah,
think number one, and this is what I advocate and preach for in all my coaching with my clients, is embracing your authenticity. You have to know who you are in order to know who you want to be, if that makes sense. So once you're clear on that, then you can practice that, and then you're always going to have that confidence. So that is definitely the core of everything. But aside from that, it looks different for everybody else, doesn't it? The next step, because we are all different. But once you know who you are, then that's 80% of the solution, and we've just got to figure out the pathway after that.
yeah, yeah, and your clients are all over. You have Australian clients, and I'm sure you also have Filipino clients, Nicole.
I do, and not even just in the Philippines. So I have Filipino clients that are in Australia, in the US,
That's
all over
good.
the world, actually.
That's good. And of course, people from different countries have different traits, characters, and so on. No, and
Right.
Filipinos generally are shy, but Filipinos are sharp, huh?
Yeah.
And quite intuitive. But how would you how did you advise your Filipino clients to gain to develop self confidence and self esteem, Nicole?
Mhm. So whenever I work closely with clients, so for instance, with my Filipino clients, I'm going to look at the holistic picture. So not
Yeah,
just who they are as a person, but what's their environment, what's their culture, how did they grow up. And so one thing I find for Filipinos is it's very much a collectivist culture. It's very considerate. It's very hospitable, which is a great, beautiful thing. It's the best trait about Filipinos. But then when it comes to embracing your own confidence in leadership, that has to be balanced a little bit. You have to kind of move away from that to be assertive in order to have that confidence and lead people. But it's about finding that balance, understanding when to apply that and when to kind of step up and be a little bit more assertive in certain times.
yeah, and the program that you have is that online or do you have classes face-to-face classes for that program?
I am looking to move more into the face to face, but because I started it during COVID, everything was digital, everything was online, which actually
Yeah.
is good because then it allowed me to have clients across 10 different countries. So mostly at the moment it is online. That's versatile. However, I love face to face interaction. So I'm looking to move more into that.
But
Wow.
ma'am, there's so many content. There's so numerous of contents in the internet now about life coaching. Now, can you tell us what sets you apart from the others?
Yeah. What sets me apart, I would say, is my method. It is unique. You cannot find it anywhere else. My psychology background, I use science-based strategies, and I attack things from all fronts. It's very much a holistic leadership transformation. So I'm not just going to come in and give you like the same kind of communication strategies from one to the next. I get to know you as a person. What's your story? What are your mindset blocks? Let's do some planning and goal setting. Where are you heading? And then we finally do the execution strategies in terms of personal brand, your style, your presence, how you're going to communicate your value. So I cover everything. I'm very thorough. That might be my law studies coming through.
Yeah, why do you think these skills are important in entrepreneurship? Like, let's say communication and the stuff that you just mentioned.
Yeah. It's probably the most important thing, I mean, in my mind, because it doesn't matter how much knowledge, intelligence, studies, qualifications you have. If you don't know how to articulate it, how to communicate your value to others, then the message will get lost. So for me, it's the number one most important thing.
So you also offer private sessions to companies
I
or just the live streaming platform?
Um, the bulk of my business is working closely with individuals. So I have that close relationship. I would say that's probably the second thing that really makes my business stand out from other people is really the depth of relationships that I have with my clients. You know, we really have that vulnerability, we have that trust, which is exactly what you need to really get to the core of a challenge and change it for good.
Yeah, and uh, for instance, there are groups where these trainings are very crucial, like flight attendants, no,
Yeah.
and salespersons and marketing officers, no,
Mhm.
and so there would be you can be very attractive to these companies, no, because they, of course, they want to develop their own people with good level of self confidence. And what's the challenging part, Nicole, in leadership self confidence programs? What's the challenging part, if there be any?
For my clients who are going through the program, or
From your point of view.
Mm, challenging part of my program. Well, I would probably say you have to be ready to get real with yourself. So I go 5, 6, 7, 8 layers deep with my clients. So it's not a surface level program that we do. So sometimes that can be confronting a little bit in the beginning. However, we kind of go there so we can get the answer, and then we get out and then we move forward. So it ends up being a very rewarding, transformative experience. However, it's kind of not for the faint-hearted, you could probably say, but that's what you need to do in order to get that real lasting change.
Yeah, yeah. And because, as a beauty queen, graduate of law and psychology, and in Sydney, you could, of course, I'm sure many companies would have wanted to invite you, promote your products, or be in management, but you opted to do it this way. Why?
um, I really believe I'm on a mission in this world to do
Uh,
something that is a reflection of my own personal experiences and the unique skills that I have to share. So that is why I did it on my own, and I think it's going well. I think it is a testament to the success that I've had. Sometimes it's a little bit hard, isn't it, if you're working for somebody else, to really 100% in with what you believe in your heart is your mission with the world.
yeah, yeah. And because the traditional, the conventional approach would be to work in a big company, a multinational, and of course they would love a beauty queen in their midst, no, a talented beauty queen, but
No.
that not your cup of tea. Work in a bank, for instance, and be involved in finance and so on. But
Yeah. Actually, those are my clients. Those are my clients. So the target market that I have are finance, technology, fintech
yeah,
professionals. So they
yeah,
have that technical skill, but then I come in and teach them branding, personality, communication, confidence. Yes.
yeah. And how long does a program usually take, Nicole? How many
Mhm.
hours, or I don't know. Do you have a long program? You have a short program, or how is it?
Yeah. So I have a few options, but my flagship program, Leadership X Factor Mastery Program, is 12 months. And
Uh,
I have different versions. There's one that goes for 6 months. However, it's not a short thing because it's not an overnight, it's not a band-aid solution. I'm in the
yeah,
business of let's do it once, let's do it properly, and never have to do it again and create that lasting change. So yes, it is a complete process that covers all the bases over 12 months.
wow, wow,
Yeah.
yeah.
Miss Nicole, I'm sure we have some millennials watching.
Mhm.
What would be the most important life skills that our millennials should develop at this time, especially for Filipinos?
The most important skill, if I'm being honest, I would just say it's show up in your authenticity with your confidence. Because once you show up in your authenticity, then you're able to actually share your unique value. When everybody's being themselves, they can collaborate, creativity fosters, new ideas come about, then we can move forward and progress. And I honestly think that's the number one most important thing that we need to be doing right now.
There is one pressing concern among employers now. Many of our millennials, they have a different behavior now um, compared to to the past generations. They become more so fickle minded this time, and they change their minds anytime they want. They change jobs. Employee turnover is quite fast these days. What do
Mhm.
you think about that? Is it about their behavior, or is it about the generational gaps, or what do you think?
Can I just confirm you said they're philosophical and change their mind? Is that what you said earlier?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, yes, please, ma'am.
Yeah, well, definitely there's always a difference between the generations and the behavior. So I definitely think that is a part of it. Me having experience in executive search, the turnover rate at the moment is generally 2 to 4 years to find a different job or to get promoted or move to the next level up. Whereas in the past, it would have been, say, 7 to 8 years. So there is that kind of just trend that's going on at the moment. In terms of them changing their mind, again, I can connect that back to coming back to your authenticity. Perhaps they're not as clear. This generation is not as clear as to who they are. There's so many options, social media, there's so many things online. So it can be hard to figure out your real identity. And if you figure that out, then maybe there could be a bit more cohesiveness and consistency. But I also think the other thing could be these days, what the millennials are looking for is something to believe in, social justice and a cause. So it's no longer just having a boss or looking at a company and the product that they give. It's about the branding. What's your corporate social responsibility? How are you taking care of the world? It's beyond the actual product or the business that's being run. So perhaps that's something that they're trying to look for and connect to as well.
And how should management address that, or deal with that?
So I think, well, first of all, understanding and being aware of that. So I think every conflict is a result of a miscommunication or a misunderstanding. So getting to understand your millennials a little bit better. What are they about? What are their values? What is going to motivate them? And see how you can authentically find a way to integrate that in your business. Because at the end of the day, they are sort of part of the future, aren't they? They're part of where we're going. They're a huge part of the workforce. So we do need to find a way to do it from both ends, what millennials can do and what the companies can do so they can work together.
Yeah. You think so, sir?
Yeah.
You come from a different generation.
The younger ones now, I think they even prefer to stay at home, no? Work from home. I have a granddaughter. She just graduated in LaSalle, and whenever I'm in Manila, I would ask her during the day whether she has to work, and she says yes, and she works at home. She works at home with her computer, and wow, I never would imagine doing that during my time, Nicole. But now younger people prefer. They have their own call it. They have their own world, no. But still, wherever you work, at home or I don't know, the number of people working at home, I think, has increased over the past several years, no. But still, I don't know if my concern is how about their peer relationship, no? Because they're always on the phone or they're on the computer and all that. Unlike in the traditional, the conventional office where you converse with your colleagues, you talk to your colleagues, and you compare notes, and you even debate sometimes, no, argue. But of course, everything is supposed to be good for everybody, no? How is it now? The environment. I don't know. The environment seems to be, to me, strange, Nicole.
I get it. I understand. So what was your question? It was how I feel about that, or what we can do?
Is that good, or what adjustment should be done? No, I don't know. I'm sure your mom would remind you every now and then about fundamentals, about basics, and
Yes, no, I understand. Look, my point of view is it's neither good nor bad. It just is. This is the reality that we're facing at the moment. Ever since COVID, the world is changing and it's going to continue to change. So we have to find a way to adapt. I do agree about the connection, and that is one of the challenges. And that's exactly something I address with my coaching as well. I think I do see an opportunity though. You know, there is a bit of that disconnection, but there's an opportunity to create more meaningful connections, to get a little bit more creative in the way that we connect and communicate, even through our language or the depth of conversation. How do we motivate people? I don't think it's going to go away, sorry to say, but we can find ways. We can find ways to make it better. And that's something that I do in my coaching too.
oh.
One challenge that some workforce is experiencing at the moment, especially for those the multi-generational gaps. The older generations, they're no longer tech savvy, but at this time, we are our generation now as if I belong to this generation. So the generation now is more tech savvy, and they're more into the internet, and the information age is so complex, and it's giving the older ones a hard time adjusting. How should that be addressed in the workplace?
Okay. So for me, everything comes back to mindset. I'm all about going back to the core. So I have clients, some who are 25 and 65, and
Yeah.
I approach them in the same way. It's kind of like, oh, that seems hard, or I don't want to change, and then you can't change. But if I'm being honest, I do not consider myself tech savvy. But I built my website by myself. I've done everything. I built my business from the ground up just by being open to the possibility and embracing that change. But yeah, I do think it's possible if you want to. I think you can.
Yeah. Attorney Oka here is already very tech savvy. He uses his iPad, and he reads news reports every day using his iPad. And he's yeah.
And I still play my games
And
using my iPad.
Very tech savvy. The more tech savvy than me, probably.
And he's past 70.
Yeah. Nicole, you also teach people how to overcome fears. That's kind of sensitive, but how is it?
That's sort of what I was referring to before, that, it's not really a smooth, easy journey, to overcome your fears. These are some things that some of my clients, as I mentioned before, 25 to 65 age range, if you've been carrying a fear for 65 years, it's going to be quite hard to rewrite that, to overcome that. The way I approach it is, number one, I have to create that trust with them. Otherwise, they're not going to be vulnerable. They're not even going to want to face it if they're feeling in any way uncomfortable or afraid. So I do have that close connection with them, so we can create that vulnerability and figure out what's going on. And then once we get to that core, it's about rewiring. I use science-based strategies. Rewire those neural pathways, flip that switch, build something through mindset, framing, things like that. And then we can move forward with that new habit, that where you don't have that fear anymore. But it's very incremental. It's not throwing you in the deep end. It's not making you extremely uncomfortable to the point where you shut down. It's a very gradual process. That's what takes time, but it does last.
Oh, and that's a psychologist in you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and wow, that's good. That's good, no? And self-confidence, overcome fear, leadership qualities,
Resilience.
no? Leadership qualities, and how young is your youngest? How do you call it? Student or trainee? Or
Yeah. I would say 24. 24 was my youngest. Yes. Oh, no, actually, I correct myself. It was 24. Recently, I started actually youth graduates who just got out of college. And so to give them skills from the very beginning, I wish somebody told me. I was still that shy person back in that age.
Yeah.
And I had to overcome it, the long, hard way, which is fine. It's perfect because it's where I am now. But if I can help people as early as then, honestly, it's so amazing feeling. It gives me incredible fulfillment that they're getting those skills that they can't get at college from an early age.
Yeah, the adolescent age can indeed be sensitive, no, and if not handled properly. But of course, the best way to do it is through schools or some arrangement with religious organizations, churches, something like that. And your programs are all handled by you personally, Nicole. or do
Correct.
you have a group that you're collaborating with on certain issues, certain types of programs, things like that?
So my core business is just me. However, I'm partnering with certain people. For instance, going into tech and AI. How can I help people navigate the new normal, the new future? I've got the
Yeah,
youth, but that is me on my own still. Um, but yes, looking into as I grow and move forward into the future, I will have to get some people who can come in and help me to do my methodology. But at the moment, yes, it is me.
yeah, and I know your experience in beauty pageants would also make you a good coach for candidates for beauty pageants, no? Especially the personality side, and then the question and answer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, that can spell the difference. Now almost everybody is beautiful, and the difference may lie on how the answer is given
100%.
for a particular question. Yeah,
Yes. I would say the top two things that would differentiate, because I think everybody's beautiful. Put everybody in a line. They're all going to have a beautiful face, beautiful body in their own rights. But for
uh,
me, it's things. Number one, it's your X factor, your charisma. How do you have that ability to just stand out just with your energy, your aura, and your presence? And second, yes, how you articulate through the answer, the Q&A, articulation, your communication.
yeah, and
Ma'am,
wow.
yeah.
Mm-mm.
Ma'am, not everyone is blessed with a perfect communication skill. These candidates, the aspiring candidates, how should they prepare for that, for the question and answer portion?
It's all about practice, 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 dedication, and commitment. As I
Mhm.
mentioned before, I was an extremely shy person. Even
Mhm.
prior, even during leading up to that coronation, I am a shy person by nature, but I worked really hard. I found that some of the other candidates who are now my friends, they would tell me later, like, every time I would just see you like writing in a book. And because I was just really very much focused and committed to improving that, because I had a goal. I wanted to do well. So I would say practice, and often the most practiced speech or communication is the one that looks with the least effort. It looks like it's effortless. They are the one that practice the most behind closed doors.
Yeah,
It looks
that's a
everything.
good tip, huh?
Practice.
Yeah, practice, practice. So, how do you practice? You ask somebody to ask you, or do you have a set of questions? Uh, I don't know, but the kind of questions that are asked can be very deep, Nicole.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I had a little notebook with different topics. I would say there's two things you would need to practice. It is the content and the types of topics, but also your ability to answer questions on the spot. So in that case, it doesn't have to always be those complex topics. It can just be somebody asking you a question, like getting your body ready, your response, your stress response, to just answer like on the spot.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And is it better to not to answer right away and pretend that you're thinking, or
Oh, grabe naman yung pretend that you're thinking.
pretend that you're let me see.
I will
Is
tell you.
what's the style of answering? Uh, many would-be candidates may be watching us now. But what can you advise them on the style of answering?
Everybody's style is different. I don't have anything against you taking a breath, a momentary breath to gather yourself and ground yourself before you answer. But if I'm being honest, when I was in that situation, it's very hard for me to tell you how long to pause before speaking, because the entire world slows down. For me, I
Yeah,
felt like it took about 10 seconds before I started speaking. But then when I watched in the video, I was pretty quick. So it's going to be hard to gauge that in the moment. It's very overwhelming. So many people around you, the pressure. So just, I would say, take a moment in your mind. Take a moment in your mind, gather yourself. You don't need to just speak straight away. And then, yeah, just start speaking.
There were in the write-up, a question was asked in one beauty pageant that you attended. How would you like other people to treat you? Do you want to be respected or do
Mm-hmm.
you want to be loved?
Yep.
And Nicole's answer was,
Oh, you want my answer? Yes, sir. I said that I would rather be respected because that
yes.
means to maintain your integrity, dignity, and self-respect. And this
Uh-huh.
means you will be loved by whoever matters and everyone around you.
Yeah. You still stick to that answer now if you are asked the same question now?
100%. Yes.
Uh, galing, galing. Maayo. Do you understand that?
Yes.
She understands some Visayan
Some
word.
Bisaya, and
Oh.
it's quite interesting because I think she only know about how many Visayan words, Miss Nicole. And what was that? You told us about it this before we started the show.
Now, hubog. That's
Yeah, of all the words, bubog yun.
There's more, but that's the only ones I could think of right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And uh, if you were asked, Nicole, would you join a beauty pageant again if you were to live your life again? No,
Yes.
would you have joined earlier, or what's the best time to? And what, of course, Binibining Pilipinas today is that's the only beauty pageant of international standards, no, in the Philippines. And uh, would you still, if you were to live your life again, would you want to join a beauty pageant? And where would that be? Australia or the Philippines?
Oh, contentious question there, isn't it? So I 100% would join again because I think it was such a huge part of what shaped me and my confidence and who I am today. I would definitely do it again. In terms of where, that is a difficult one. Of course, I think there's something so special about pageants in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Even the training and the people that you meet, it's unmatched. It's literally number one in the entire world. So if we're talking from a point of view of opportunity to my personal development, my confidence, that kind of education that you get around pageantry and how it can help you in your life, definitely the Philippines.
Yeah, and of course, your mom would not have agreed if you would join in another country's beauty pageant. I am sure of that.
Look, in my heart, I'm very much Filipino. Even my friends that are Filipino that live there, they tell me you're more Filipino than me. Like even if we're not talking about the language barrier, but my attitude, my mindset, the food, the way I am, the way I act, it is very much,
Yeah, and uh, Australia is can also be difficult to some migrants, huh? But how did you grow up in Australia? Just fine?
Well, Australia is a very multicultural society.
Yeah.
There's so many different backgrounds. I would say that I'm pretty fortunate that I grew up. I didn't really have too many troubles. I do hear about that. I do understand what you're saying. But again, I think it's just a matter of finding a way to connect with people. Everything comes down to connection. But I would say that I had a pretty okay upbringing in Australia.
And there are many Asians in Australia, Filipinos, Chinese, and even Indonesians. And from KL, of course, Indians. There are many as well in Australia. And of course, Sydney is a very wonderful city. Consistently, Sydney has been adjudged as one of the world's most livable cities, no? Competing with Singapore and some other top cities. Uh, so I'm sure every time you come to the Philippines, you find some. You need to make some adjustments along the way.
Mm-hmm. Philippines has its own perks. I mean, I love getting a massage every single day when I'm there. I love the food. I love every place has its own, personal uniqueness
Yeah.
and advantages. I really do love coming back to the Philippines. But yes, I live in Sydney. It's where I have my life, where I've grown up.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, uh, Australia and the Philippines are very, very close countries. And uh, in fact, we have here in Cagayan de Oro, we have every now and then we have some Australian boxers who come here, younger ones, because in our boxing team, the national boxing team, they recruited an Australian coach to help our boxers, no, and he was involved in the Tokyo Olympics 2 3 years ago, and one of the boxers that won the silver medal was from this place, from Cagayan de Oro. And the Australian coach was so impressed with him that he wanted to come here to Cagayan de Oro to see how we train our boxers, no? And he was very interested, and in fact, I think he was quoted as having asked, what are they doing in Cagayan de Oro?" Because this boxer that he trained, Carlo Paalam, very much impressed him. Very much impressed him.
Nice.
So yeah, and uh, but Australia also has many sports, no, that are uniquely well, of course, eh, given the British influence, many of the English games are also played
Mm-hmm.
with good crowd support in Australia. And so, how far have you gone outside of Sydney in Australia, Nicole?
Mm-hmm. So, just as a quick side note, when you were talking about boxing, I love boxing and I do boxing.
Oh,
I've done boxing since I was
Really?
18. My dad was a professional boxer when he was growing up. So, when you talk about that, I said, I have to come see this now myself too. I have to come visit because I love to box.
wow, wow.
Really?
But you are tall, Nicole.
Yeah.
And did you box
Play professionally?
even in the amateur?
No, I didn't box professionally. I just love to box, like as part of my, you know, my fitness and things that I do. My dad is a professional boxer. So my dad is German. My dad is German, but he moved to Australia a while ago. So he was a professional or amateur boxer when he was in Germany.
Yeah.
I got it from him. It's in my blood. I love to do it. So when you're telling me about the boxing, I have to come and see. I have to come visit too.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, yeah. And so you do the what you call that, the
Shadow.
punch
That's what I call
with your dad?
Um,
Uh,
Not with my dad anymore, but I just do it like as part of my fitness. I'm a southpaw. I'm left-handed.
Oh,
Nice.
wow,
That's
wow.
amazing.
And have you used your boxing skills?
Haven't had the need to use it yet, but it's good to know that I have it. And I just recently started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. I don't know if you know much
Wow.
about it.
Mhm.
So a little
That
bit
is,
more on the ground with your legs, your whole body.
yeah,
I love
that yeah, that explains your physique, no? Your uh, yeah, less fat.
Yeah, of
Oh,
course. Yeah. On another note, your perspective as a beauty titleist, beauty pageants now has adopted or has embraced this theme on inclusivity and diversity and representation. Your thoughts on that, Matt? Has it transitioned from the past themes of beauty pageants?
Definitely, definitely, and I think that is such a positive thing. Um, in terms of the recent Miss Universe Philippines, I'm so happy. I'm so happy who won. I really love that move towards the diversity inclusion, giving everybody a chance. There are many ways to, show beauty, and I really love that the Philippines is embracing that. I do think that's more of a global thing as well, in a general way. Even in Australia, they've got different sort of cultural heritage that is winning the Miss Universe Australia every year now. On a personal note, it means a lot to me because I have grown up in Australia where I'm half Filipino, half German, not, the typical Australian looking person. And so I can feel the difference, from back then to now. And it honestly, it really, really makes me happy. Yeah, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, that's great
That's
because some
good.
people
That's
don't
good.
agree that it should be.
Why do they not agree?
Yeah. But probably some people think that beauty pageants are for the those with the perfect features, perfect bodies who are brilliant, girls who are smart, and but well, I just echo what others
No, I
who doesn't.
understand.
Yeah.
Everybody has a right to feel how they feel, but look, the direction the world is moving in is deeper meaning in life, deeper connections, embracing globalization, interconnectedness. We have to find a way to all work together. And I strongly believe that everyone's beautiful in their own right. And again, I was bringing it
Right.
back to before, your own X factor, your charisma. What's your energy? That's the beauty for me. Not really the physical, but even the physical. Everyone's beautiful. That's just honestly how I think. Everyone has beauty.
Yeah, but for the record, I agree with the current themes now of beauty pageants. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, everybody is also conscious. Everybody is prepared. No,
Yeah.
whenever you join a beauty pageant, I guess it's part of the screening process. No, one does not get to join the competition unless uh, she has a good chance of making it. And but people generally have been uh, more conscious about beauty and brains and wit and talent. No, people now look up to those candidates who exhibit these skills. No, and that's all over. Even in our far-flung barrios, we also have beauty pageants, and you can see that there really is an attempt to demonstrate the best there is. No? And what Nicole, if I may ask you, what were the changes to your life that entering beauty pageant had introduced?
The changes in my life, it's definitely my confidence. That was the turning point in my life for that. It showed me what was possible. I proved to myself what I'm capable of. And that experience in and of itself is till today something that I always come back to in moments when I'm trying something new in my life where, I might be feeling a little bit scared. It's something completely new. I always come back to that and said, hey, you did this and you proved yourself in that moment that you were able to push through and rise above it. So if you did it then, you can do it now. So this is really a pivotal moment in my life I always come back to.
Yeah. In fact, that has been my consistent observation. Whenever I am asked to talk about in beauty pageants, I always say that every candidate already is a winner. No, By having participated in the pageant, everyone already has won. But the challenge really is, how do you conquer your own self, your own fears, your own hesitations, your own doubts, no? And entering beauty pageant gives you that, no? Really, conquering one's own limitations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think in terms of the fears you have while you're in the pageant
Yeah.
is the strength of your goals and your purpose and your why. Sometimes people feel afraid because they're too busy thinking about how they're going to look or if they're going to make a mistake, and then that
Yeah.
consumes them. But if you look beyond what's immediately in front of you and go, well, I have an opportunity to have a platform for my mission to inspire others. When you make it less about you and more about your why, then it's easier to overcome some of these fears.
That's another tip,
Yeah.
said. That's another tip. You don't think of yourself, but think of what you can do to help others. Nice tip. Nice tip. Yeah. And but did you ask for your mom's permission when you joined the beauty pageant? And what was her reaction?
Not really asked her permission. I think she was pretty happy that I wanted to do it, but it was more so like a conversation. So I sat down actually with my dad. So he was really there along that journey. And I said, Dad, because I knew what I needed. I was going with a purpose. And so I said to him, Dad, I'm thinking of doing this again, but I want your support. I want you to come with me so that, because I knew that he could help me like with my questions and the entire process. I said, I want to do it with you. Will you come with me? And he's like, okay. So he came with me. He dieted with me. He helped me adjust my walk. He did everything. He stayed up. He was there. He was there. And so when I actually won that crown, I was like a little bit overwhelmed. There's so much going on. Like, of course you're happy. But when I saw him through the crowd, like pushing everyone from the back to get to me, and I saw him and I just started crying, like, oh my God, like, because I'm connecting with him. For me, it's like our win together.
Yeah,
Wow,
that's
what a
nice.
story! What a story!
So it's a team. It's like a team play between
So
the father
you
and.
are your dad's favorite.
No, I wouldn't say I'm his favorite, but we have like I do have a sister, but I would say that we have a very strong connection. Like he's like my best friend, like I can talk to him about anything. I don't think it's every day that a person joining a pageant has their dad by their side every single practice, staying up late at night. The day that he could eat a steak sandwich, he could eat meat again, he was almost in tears because he was just so happy. He went up with me for months, like leading up to the pageant.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. So it's as if that he was a participant as well in the pageant, huh?
Yes, he was really correct.
Who was more excited, your dad or your mom?
Both. I would say my entire family, but
Yeah.
they probably show it in different ways. But of course, they're both my parents, so I think they were
Yeah.
both happy.
Yeah. That's a very nice story, about your dad being very much involved in the pageant.
Yeah.
Cancel. That's you should write a book on that, Nicole. That's a good line. That's a good story to tell.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, for sure. And I have so many stories like that with my dad. So we have a very close relationship.
And so he did not teach you not only to box, but he also was instrumental in your beauty pageant journey. What
Yes.
else? What else? What else did he help you in? No? Of course, your studies, I would suppose.
Mhm.
But the other games that you had played, where your dad coached you or taught you how to play it, things like that.
So I have my degrees in law and psychology, and so obviously there's a lot of study, things to kind of memorize and understand in time for the exams. So my dad, countless nights, has also sat up with me, helping me to study. And one time I lived about an hour and a half away from him. And then I said, Dad, I need your help. He drove. He drove to me and sat with me. I just can't. I don't think I can underestimate the power of moral support or emotional support, like knowing that somebody cares in you and believes in you. And I think that's really the number one thing my dad gave me that has made me who I am today. And that's what I try to give my clients as well. You know, I believe in them and I make sure they know it, because sometimes that's all it takes.
Wow. Wow. That's a very nice story, Nicole. And
Thank you.
I wish I could interview him also. You know how to speak German?
Do I? Did you ask?
Yeah, yeah.
German siya. Oh.
Yeah,
I
is it
can't,
German?
yeah, German. I can't tell you what words I know because they would be inappropriate for this
Ah,
live.
I understand. He did not teach you those words, I'm sure.
He did. He did.
Uh,
He did.
wow. Wow. And that's a
Yeah.
good story, yeah. Your closeness to your dad, no? And uh, I'm sure they are very much a part of what you are now, no?
Yeah.
And galing, Sel. And
Yeah.
the mom is from Liloan, so uh,
Mhm.
uh, she can be very loving also, very sweet, and loves to cook, right?
Oh, yeah. No, she's just very. My mom is a very strong woman, so I feel
Uh-huh.
like the strength in me is like I get it from her, and she definitely has my back. Like she will make sure that I'm okay. You know, that really like protective
Oh.
mother bear type of energy.
Miss Nicole, what does a Miss Nicole Schmidt still want or still wish in life? Let's say in a 5 or 10 years or so.
For myself personally, for me,
Yeah. Yes.
yeah. So I would really love to continue. I would love to grow an empire. That's really where I'm working towards an empire in terms of entrepreneurship and in business. So this business that I have now is kind of obviously I have to start somewhere. I have built this from the ground up from nothing, you know, from the ideas in my head. I'm very happy with how it's going, but I have many other ideas. But it all really comes down to like personal development and helping people to find their passion and potential. That's really the core of everything that I'm doing. So I want to branch out and do different things, whether it's products or using tech, AI, coaching. I really want to make an impact, helping people to find their potential.
Wow.
Yeah.
Galing, galing. Shine has already given us a signal that we are already on overtime, Nicole. Can we ask for your parting statement? And imagine yourself talking to uh, potential beauty pageant contestants, no? And what would you advise them as they aspire to become beauty pageant winners also in their respective places? Please, Nicole, you have the floor.
So what I would say is you have wanted this dream for a reason. There's obviously a passion and fire inside you that has brought you to the point of joining this pageant. You don't need to listen to all the white noise around you telling you you can't do this, you can't do that. That's going to breed your insecurity. I would just listen to your own inner compass, your intuition, because only you know what you're capable of. And it is your duty to show that with the world.
Galing.
Yeah.
Galing, Sel.
Yes,
Yeah.
Penny.
Yeah,
Your
Nicole,
take?
at the end of every episode, my role is to summarize my takeaway
Mhm.
from this episode. No? And wow, I have two most important takeaways. Number one is, of course, you have uh, you have attained good education in Australia, in Sydney, and pursued your uh, beauty pageant dreams, and
Mhm.
won
Mhm.
uh, Miss Binibining Pilipinas International, and one of the top contenders in the next higher level. And of course, you have chosen to engage yourself in coaching, self confidence, to overcome fears, leadership skills, and so on. No, and
Yeah.
that's rather uh, that's a good thing to focus on. No, but of course, it can also be challenging. Challenging because you need clients, and you don't develop clients overnight. No, but uh, we wish you all the best in your career. My second takeaway is her closeness to her dad. No,
Yeah.
and which led her to learn boxing and love boxing.
Yeah.
And I'm really amazed with when in your as you studied at home, you would ask your dad to join you, be
Yeah.
beside you. That's that's very amazing. No, he does inspire you, Nicole, and that's very good, very very heartwarming to us, and so. We thank you very much for accepting our invitation, Nicole, and we wish you all the best in your quest to build your empire as a coach, as a life coach, as a leadership guru, and also in helping people overcome fear. Thank you very much, Nicole. Thank you very much, everyone. Good afternoon.
Yes, thank
Thank
you
you.
very much, Miss Nicole. And Attorney Oka, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
And to everyone who joined us this afternoon, good afternoon.
Thank you.